What's that weird noise? Can we have it as a sound effect? I like it.
Hi, you listen to Unsung podcast.
I'm your host.
I'm your host, Mark Forzer.
Mark Fraser.
Mark Forzer. I'm your host, Mark Forzer. And
it's all gone downhill already.
Sorry, there's been a couple of shandies.
Take the fences down and he fucking runs wild, does Mr. Chris Cusack.
I'm joined by two men who, like me, have their trousers around their ankles as we proceed to wank over the past 52 weeks of...
years.
Well, it feels like 52 years. 52 weeks of stunning content that we have created.
Certainly seamless, because we have never missed a week. We have, however, had weeks.
We've had weeks. We've had weeks when weeks have been weak.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
But it's fine.
Have you guys tried listening to the early episodes again?
We spoke about this before. Yes, I have.
Tried.
Nobody likes the first 3 episodes of anything they record.
My biggest fear is when someone's like, oh, I heard about the podcast, I'm going to go back and listen to it from the start.
Yeah, you're like, no, that's fine. Start at maybe 34, 35 maybe.
Just go back to number 10, you'll be fine from there.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. The first few of any
Do you know what this podcast is like? Have you ever seen the film Starman, starring Patrick Swayze?
Starman
starring Patrick Swayze.
Is it Patrick Swayze that's in it?
Oh, I should know if it's a Patrick Swayze film because my girlfriend and I...
Because your spirit animal is Patrick Swayze.
When we first got together, we decided we were going to watch...
Your fiancé, Dave.
Oh, my fiancé, yeah. We decided we were going to watch every Patrick Swayze movie and then rate them and find the most Patrick Swayzeest movie.
Can you check if Starman is a Patrick Swayze?
And I don't remember that one. But I mean, we chose 10. Starman...
May not be
movie.
on that list.
Jeff Bridges.
Oh, it fucking is Jeff Bridges.
Fucking Jeff Bridges, you mental.
God damn, but he's young.
Oh, it's a John Carpenter as well.
Yeah, so Starman, where the alien comes down, becomes a human, and even though he's remarkably, from appearances, he's old, he is but a babe. Mentally. And that is much like this podcast, because even though we sound like we know what we're doing, and we're all old as fuck, especially me, we are but children learning the ways of the world and podcasting, and therefore everything is deeply flawed but also naive and well-meaning.
I mean, that's beautiful in some way.
I'm really sorry it wasn't Patrick Swayze.
Do you know what we ended up choosing as the most Patrick Swayze stuff? We ranked them.
Can I take your top 3?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I ranked them on though. We ranked them on how good his hair looks, romance, violence.
Violins or violence?
Amount of Swayze, and what was the other one? I can't remember. There was another one. So, for instance,
can I guess the top 3?
Yes, you can.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
1.
Point Break.
You guess the top 3, and then I'll tell you what order.
Point Break, right? Come on.
Yeah, Point
Roadhouse.
Break. Roadhouse, Point Break.
Roadhouse, Point Break, Dirty Dancing with Donnie Darko somewhere.
No, Donnie Darko is way down there because there's not much, and he's not very romantic because he's a paedophile. Roadhouse, I think, actually got number 1.
Yeah, the throat ripping scene in that is legendary.
Point Break was number 2, and I actually think Ghost might have been number 3.
Ghost is maximum.
Yeah, we're not talking about best films.
No.
But
even just from
in terms of those, Ghost
is a better choice.
Got ahead of Dirty Dancing.
I think in 2019 we should have a feature going forward, which is like the most Swayze moment in any record.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
The most Patrick Swayze moment.
Oh my god, that's going to really lead to a lot of like bias in the records we cover.
Yeah, we're all going to take the Swayze road.
So it is Christmas almost. Well, kind of is. Is it Christmas?
I just opened a beer.
That's the sound of a weird can of beer opening.
A 360 can, apparently.
Yeah, it just makes a mess. When does this get out, Mark?
This goes out
between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, so the first episode will go out on the Friday after Christmas, and the second one is going to Friday after New Year.
Hope you had a good 4th. Christmas, folks. Hope you got your presents. We recorded this well in advance because we are clocking out. David's
Chris
back
got
to
his presents, so Chris got his presents.
I did.
It's quite nice.
I got David a picture disc of Chesney Hawks.
That's seriously one of the greatest presents I've ever had.
I'm a
I got an Iron Monkey double disc, so I'm pretty happy with that.
You also got
and a Bret Easton Ellis novel.
You got a really good book. By the way, they made a film of that book.
We talked about it on a podcast.
Yeah, and they missed the most important part of the book out, which is why I got
the vampires.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So Chris prefaced. Is
that a Jamaican accent?
He prefaced it. He basically said that, spoiler alert, there's vampires in this, and I hadn't read the book, so
I've not told him.
Fucking news ruined.
I've not even told him the name of the book.
It's called. You did on the episode.
Don't tell them.
Fine. I mean, okay. Bret Easton Ellis, vampires. There's not many of those books out there. I'm pretty sure you can probably find them if you Google it.
Dave, are you happy with the rest of your haul?
Oh yeah, and then you got me a gift for Johnny Depp CD.
Gift for Johnny Depp, but a book about hipsters.
Yeah, thanks.
And
very
I thought
much.
you'd like that because last week we established you were a Carly Rae Jepsen hipster.
Colory hipster.
I mean,
You can absolutely get me a flannel shirt and make fun of me.
yeah, that's true.
That is, I have given you free license to mock
You are
my
wearing a flannel shirt right now.
stupid ass white credentials.
Yeah.
You should buy him a Vanilla Ice CD.
Fuck. No, you should buy me like Creed or some shit.
No, I don't. No, I mean, you just define yourself, Christopher. There's no point in going in parodying your taste.
I identify as a parody.
You you identify as a Steve Albini bass tone, and that's
Doesn't even play bass, man. That's Bob Weston.
yeah, I know, but a Steve Albini bass tone, like on an album. Anyway, shut up.
If you were to categorize yourself as a Steve Albini sound, what would you
Produced
categorize
based
yourself
on?
as? Yeah.
I'd like to say his vocals in Big Black.
Stare at the wall, look at each other and wait till we die. Probably come to die on this town. Tear my whole life. Probably come to die on this
Really? To be, yeah, just a bit tired.
I don't know if I agree with it, man. I would like to be Steve Albini's
Well, what about
Bell.
What? Well, I was just about to say, what item of
in the song.
what body part would you like
no,
to be?
I actually have an answer. Yuri G by PJ Harvey. I would like to be the bell ride cymbal.
Oh, there you go.
I would be the discarded mix of an outro.
Before Scott Litt got involved, you'd be the shit version of Pennyroyal Tea.
Basically, yeah. or one of his jumpsuits.
Ooh, that cool belt that he wears that he puts the guitar on.
The fucking poker tournaments he plays in all the time because he's always fucking because he loses so much money. He's got to win it back in poker.
When Alamos went across there to record their second album, they got heavily drawn into Steve Albini's poker fixation.
It's a pretty heavy fixation.
Yeah, but he's actually quite a nice guy. He's a bit serious.
Good band name that.
But he's
Steve
pleasant.
Albini's poker fixation.
Sounds like a bit like Gay for Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I know,
Sorta
exactly.
mathy kind of post-metal-y stuff. Anyway,
So we do have some sort of structure to these
We have a
episodes.
point here. Yeah.
So we asked a bunch of people who allegedly listen to this podcast what they would like us to reflect upon from the last 52 weeks of our lives as regards music and the broad remit of Unsung.
Mm-hmm.
And we have simmered that down and reduced it down like a fine months ago to
gravy.
8 tomatoey questions.
8 tomatoey.
We're going to address this is just going to get worse over the next 2 weeks or 2 episodes.
What are you doing to your foot, by the way? Are you doing wax on, wax off?
My foot's got a wee bit dead, so I'm having to move it.
You're doing it in a very sensual way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the most Patrick Swayze foot.
Literally,
I know he is.
literally everything I do is unavoidably
I feel
sensual,
like you could
David.
maybe do the what is it? Fucking what do they do with
the
pottery? The pottery scene in
can-can.
Ghost. I think you were trying to do that with your feet.
I've tried that.
Have you actually tried that? Tell us more.
You'll be getting it as a present.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so do we have a first question from part 1? I don't know who submitted this.
Yeah.
So we do have some. So I wasn't so thorough in my note taking as to attribute these to particular people, but we have some rough folks to thank who are regular commenters and contributors. Mark?
Yeah, we have Tommy Simpson, who's a really good guy and was our first regular contributor on a monthly basis.
Thanks
Tommy
very much, Tommy.
Tommy Gunn. Tommy Smith, Craig Scott, Davey Bright. We've got Canadian Cat, who I think has a question up soon.
We've got, she's on this episode. Her question will be coming at you hard.
We've got
Anna Goldthorpe, also our interviewee. Fritz.
Big Fritz.
Fritz the Fraser Stewart.
VJ,
the perpetual thorn in our side.
Yes.
The constant pain in the ass.
Someone has to be.
But in a productive way, in that she's challenging our assertions at every turn. We've got Ryan Taylor, Shauna Tierney.
We've got Gavin Britton, Colin O'Hara.
Yep, Colin O'Hara, Gavin Britton, Greg Gorey, Fergus Wilkie,
Jan Stewart,
Hazel Burgess, Owen Hutchings. Who else? Michael O'Keefe, is that right? Michael O'Keefe.
They've got Nicholas Thompson. We also have
Colin Jackson Brown.
Andrew Drennan.
That jumps out because it sounds like he made his name up.
Mr. Jason Costello.
Jay Costello. I know that guy because I play in a band with him. That doesn't count. He's obliged to be nice to me.
But he take up his 40 quid, so you know.
Again, that's his rent. That's his rent to be my pal.
Probably is.
We'll try and think of more of these names.
Daniel Rothwell, who donated £6.66 to us.
Oh, Daniel. Props. David's giving you the devil horns right now. Okay, so if we forgot your names, it's purely because I've smashed about a third of a bottle of Jameson so far. But we will try and remember them as we go.
Also, special shout out to Jared Threatin for being a cunt.
What a lad.
I don't know,
He's gone fucking...
He's
got
bigger and bigger now. We were in there early.
Also, need to say shout out to Krista Chopic, who runs Jasper PR, who's been talking about us on Twitter constantly.
Jasper PR.
Giving us money.
Yep.
Also put us on our top podcasts of 2018, so big shout out to her.
Jasper PR have been awesome. There's been a few people actually who've been really nice via Twitter. The people who did the Chelsea Wolf, the Greek fan club for that, were really cool. The members of the band Low were really nice. Kurt Ballou from Converge,
Train Dodge themselves,
Train Dodge the band. Really fucking appreciate what you guys have done. We've had some really nice shares and props,
and of course the wonderful Jonah.
Wonderful Jonah Matranga.
We were going to leave an extra special mention to her. It's just really nice actually, because Jonah came back and played in Glasgow recently, and at the show gave a big shout out to the podcast,
which is the weirdest thing I've experienced in a long time.
I know, he was playing Water and Solutions, watching a fucking classic album, and then you get a mental shout out halfway through. I
had an actual super beamer. I was like,
that's us guys.
I was standing next to Dave every time and I was like, oh fuck.
It is one of those weird situations where you end up like through the thing you're doing, getting to know somebody that you've really respected and admired, and that whole bullshit about never meet your heroes, fuck that. It's not true. Like, your heroes are humans, and some of them will disappoint you and some of them will absolutely live up to their expectations, and it's been an absolute privilege to be that guy. Like, he is a lovely guy. Thanks to guys like Ben Power, super guys, been in touch.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeff Irwin, who I was speaking to on Facebook, and we will get on the podcast at some point. He did speak about
of Willhaven.
Yep, he did speak about the record that we done.
Carpe Diem.
Sorry, Jesus man.
Couple beers.
Don't worry, you guys just
David, see
unfinished sentences, and
this
I'll
is the
finish
point
them all
where
for you.
David not drinking makes sense.
I know. I'll drive you home metaphorically as well as physically.
It's been a heady 52 weeks. It's been really, really good fun, and we've met some lovely people. As we say, we'd really love to expand the interview part of it. Also, thanks to Brea Quinn, who is the only other person we've interviewed who we didn't give a mention to. Brea, who's part of the duo Braticus with her sister Ona. A really, really excellent young Scottish band, along with so many more. And we'll try and cast more of a light onto some of the bands coming out of that scene as we go.
And also a big shout out to Exterior, who played our club night last Saturday.
Oh my God. Doug, Exterior, this is a guy who started in alt rock, sounded like shellac, and has turned his hand to electronic music, and in the last 12 months Doug is absolutely killing it, that new project, and I'm pretty sure that in the next 12 months it'll be someone that you'll be trying to see, as opposed to us convincing you to see. But yeah, so let's do some questions.
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Sorry, that took a while, but we're working off the top of our heads here, because the joy of doing a Christmas special is you don't need to sit there with loads of prepared notes.
Yeah, although I have some prepared notes.
So this could go bananas.
I've just got answers.
Well, see,
I've got one-line answers. Is that enough?
For the helmet episode, I had about 16 pages of notes, and for this,
you couldn't tell.
I have 2.
One of the things we'll be releasing on our website in 2019 is Chris Cusack's Unsung encyclopedia.
So the first question of the 2018 Christmas special was...
Is that a Jamaican accent?
It's exactly that. What was the best discovery encountered while doing research for an episode? So who wants to go first?
Mr. Weaver.
So in this, we mean like record that you hadn't heard before.
Yep.
New
record
thing
or
something else.
Record or song. Like anything musical that you discovered during research.
Well, for me, it was an entire album that we covered. It was Songs of Haya.
The whole place is dark. Every light on this side of the town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I know you liked it, but I didn't know you'd come back to that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I really, really liked it, and it's probably the album that I hadn't heard before that stayed with me the most. I was like, oh, why the fuck have I not listened to that before? It's beautiful.
I'm like shedding a little tear right now.
Yeah,
so proud.
It's really, really good.
It's a fucking beautiful album.
Yeah, it's a great record.
And one of the things we did that most closely aligns with the whole mission of what we spoke about before we even started this, when we were in the pub talking about it, and we said, like,
it was Magnolia Electric coming out the album, by the way, just in case if you haven't listened to it.
Well, we had that whole ambiguity about
it,
was it Songs of Haya or was it Magnolia? But I think that album, as much as any other that we've done, is an album that is grossly underrepresented.
Yeah,
given the magnificence of it. I mean, it's an album that since we've done it, I've represented to people in the forms of playlists and things like that, and it always is one of the standout tracks. It's like, what is this? Why do I not know about it?
They know what comes next with the bad luck lullaby. Leaving the true love they never find.
Jason Molina's work is beautiful. He's an incredible artist. I'm really, really glad that it made such an impression as well. And I think, as I mentioned in that podcast, I owe Dave Warner, a bandmate, for introducing me to Songs of Haya and Magnolia Electric Company, Jason Molina, in the first place. So I can't claim credit for that, but that is definitely one of the highlights from my perspective, of being able to bring to the table. That was on my top 5.
Yeah.
That's that record. A couple of songs, I think 3 songs at least from that record showed up in my Spotify top 100 songs of the year.
Old Black
That being one of them.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's a joyful record, but it's not.
No, it's sad, but it's
a wonderful album.
It's
a truly
gorgeous.
wonderful record, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I listen to it at least once a week. It's is amazing.
Amazing.
For me, best discovery, I can kind of break this down into songs and records. City by Straight Up and Young Lad, I still listen to that regularly.
Yeah, I forgot that you hadn't heard it. I forgot you hadn't heard it.
I am doing well.
Particularly All Hail the New Flesh, which I listen to fucking quite a lot.
She must be fucked up.
It's so good. Also Machine Gun by Portishead, listen to that tune.
Oh,
yeah, that's
good,
such a track.
How good is that fucking album?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Savior, come my way. I thought I'd see it, the cold light of day.
And I think from an album point of view, it's one I discovered. It was I can't remember. It's a Melvins record, the one Kurt Cobain produced.
Oh, Houdini.
Yeah, Houdini. I listened to that a lot.
We did
as well.
that in the grunge podcast, and Houdini is a brilliant album.
Yeah.
The song Honey Bucket on that is superb.
So that's probably the best discovery I had. Those are the best discoveries I've had for sure.
Cool.
Also Blonde Redhead, that record's a good record, but I've not listened to it as much as I've listened to other stuff.
Did it get in?
It did not get in.
Did not get in.
Didn't get in. We may talk about that later.
Also Meshuggah, Dave.
Oh yeah, Catch 33.
So I have to say, like that will appear later in my list. Meshuggah was a real fucking discovery for me in terms of I knew about Meshuggah, I'd listened to Meshuggah, but I'd never really got Meshuggah.
Yeah.
And Catch 33 was the fucking gateway drug for me actually learning to appreciate this amazing band. Like really brilliant band. You unlocked that with that recommendation, and I've been able to reap the rewards by going through the other stuff because they're a hard band to get into.
Yeah, they definitely are. But I always find that an album will come out and then I understand that album 3 years later.
Totally.
And I'm like,
totally.
Oh, I suddenly get Coloss, and I'm just waiting for the last record to click with me.
Man. It's dense. It's like it's really challenging stuff. For me, the takeaways have mostly been in songs, I think, rather than albums. Dave, you're going to fucking hate me for this a wee bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most recent. So when we were researching the Carly Rae Jepsen episode, as part of that, I listened to Paramore and the song Hard Times.
I fucking knew you were going to say that, man.
What a fucking tune that is.
Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Gonna take you down and laugh when you cry. And I still don't know how I even survive. Hard times. Gonna make you wonder why you even try. Gonna take you down and laugh when you cry.
What a fucking...
You've changed, Chris.
What
You
a
have
changed.
changed.
My goodness.
To be fair, it's a banger, but it is totally like you can totally hear Carly Rae Jepsen's influence in that song, like fucking 100%.
Here's the thing though, that is clearly the point where Paramore's not a band anymore. Like Paramore
They are now pop.
They're a pop project.
A pop.
You can hear Carly Rae Jepsen, you can hear Churches, you can hear all these kind of like mainstream kind of indie what was it called? Mindy pop artists in that song. They're not a band in the strictest sense anymore. There are other concerns involved, but it is a fucking brilliant song.
It's a banger, man.
It's absolutely tremendous. What I think's an interesting thing is I'm not saying I pirated it. I'm not admitting to anything. I may or may not have got for the first time in my life an email from my broadband provider saying we have reason to believe that such and such record was downloaded on your broadband
I've never had
connection.
That. I've never had that either.
I may or may not have never had that before in my life, but I may or may not have been like, what the fuck you, and literally have been told that I had been tracked, and the email may or may not have had IP addresses,
and that you have stolen this record, may or may not have
stolen this record. And I was like, wow, this band may or may not be right now showing how much their alignment with this industry has changed.
Yeah.
Because that is to have that kind of police force. No, listen, to have that kind of police force on your case. I mean, the resources it must take to persuade broadband companies to may or may not pursue the illegal downloads of your album is massive. So it really showed. I mean, that may or may not never happen to Helmet.
But I mean, you know about the Hayley Williams thing, though, right? The whole thing with her.
That she's a person.
Yeah, not like. So she was signed very young in her teens to was it Universal, I think?
I know nothing about this band.
Right, so basically, she was signed to a major record label in her teens, and in order to make her look more genuine, they decided to align her with Fuel by Ramen and get her band, that band then became Paramore. This is like all fucking
What is
common
Fuel
knowledge.
by Ramen? Because I saw that coming
So
up.
Fuel by Ramen was a record
I
label.
may or
Like
may
a
not-
pop punk record
I may or
label.
may not have seen that coming up.
Well, it's interesting because Fuel by Ramen were created by one of the guys for Less Than Jake, not the bass player, the other guy with the spiky hair. He started a record label and then left it and started another one called Fuel by Ramen. But they end up signing bands like Cute Is What We Aim For and Fall Out Boy and all that, and then they end up getting like picked up by a major label.
Yeah.
And then they started
Fall Out
They
Boy
were
singing
just
especially.
really big in that pop punk mid 2000s
because
scene.
of those bands.
Panic at the Disco, All Time Low, all that sort of shit.
Yeah. Like big selling bands as well.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
Eventually,
Yeah, they did become, well, when they first signed Fall Out Boy and stuff like that, they were like not a big selling band, but when they became, I think they're distributed by a major label, a lot of their bands now get that push, and the record company the Hayley Williams was signed with deliberately found her the coolest minor indie label they could
subsidiary.
find. Yeah, and
How do you
was
think it
Fueled by
is that
Ramen.
a girl gets signed? I mean, how does that happen that an individual...
She was a Christian church bandy singer.
'Cause,
She get
yeah,
picked
they
up.
just,
First founder.
So an individual...
I've seen that happen in
like,
Glasgow. You know, you get signed on a publishing deal or a major record deal very early in your pop career, and you might release a couple of singles that go nowhere, but they're like, oh, that's fine, we'll just put you in a writing song camp with a bunch of producers for 3 years, and before we work out what we'll package you as next.
I mean, this is super
you know,
fascinating because I didn't know anything about this, right? But how is it that a human being, like a person walking down the street, ends up being provisionally signed to a record label with no record, no band, no specific project? So it's not like she's sending demos in to Interscope. She is just signed as a human being with the potential to be in a band. Is it because she's attractive physically?
It's probably got a large part to do with it, yeah.
What does that tell you about Hayley Williams as a female icon in music?
I mean, I see what you're saying,
but the same
man,
thing
but
happens with male. The same thing happens with male pop stars as well.
But the same stigma doesn't apply because this is a man's world. And I'm not being facetious. I mean, like, the male gaze is what controls the industry. So a man being signed on the potential that he may be a marketable commodity is different from men, predominantly men that run the music industry, vastly predominantly men, signing young women, attractive young women.
I'm just amazed that you're surprised by this.
No, I'm not. But it's interesting to see it, one, so brazen, and two, in the form of a band like Paramore, which has definitely passed in the kind of, like the gender says, passed as a legitimate, they started as a band, but now they're a pop project. It's like, no, they were always a pop project. They were literally signed bespoke as individuals and assembled. That is fascinating. That is a really, really fascinating phenomenon.
I think that's maybe something we can explore a little bit more on an episode next year.
So that tune's a banger.
It's a banger though, yeah.
Great.
From the other episodes we've done, standout stuff. Mark, I owe you a fair bit of these, man. I think the AFI episode, there's a few tracks I took away from that.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically on Burials, A Deep Slow Panic, 17 Crimes, and especially the song Greater Than 84, which I think is one of the best tunes we covered all year.
17 Crimes is a banger. I love that song.
I think Greater Than 84 is their best song. I honestly do.
We're trapped between the nightmares, and I fear the future's here. It's 1985.
I think I've mentioned this to you before. The song White Crosses by Against
That's
Me.
a really good song, man.
And this summer, or at least late summer, White Crosses became my get-up anthem. Like, I had my phone set to start playing it, and even my flatmate's girlfriend was like, I fucking love it when I wake up in the morning and I hear that song playing from your room. I absolutely fucking love that tune. It is so positive. I mean, it's not even a particularly positive subject.
It's about abortion.
But it's such a beautifully upbeat and proactive bit of music. I fucking love it. Like,
Give it another 6 months, man, and you'll totally understand why I love Laura Jane Grace so much as a songwriter.
I was pretty, I don't know if I was ambivalent. I was reasonably positive on them. I just didn't think any of the albums grabbed me. That song is it suggests the potential of that band, though. I think it's superb, White Crosses. I also think that Halo by Depeche Mode, even though that wasn't the focus or a single from that album, is a tremendous song.
I think I said that episode as well. It's one of my favourite songs on that record.
I think it's a really great bit of music that I probably would never have heard unless we'd done that album. And the song Heirloom by Björk from Vespertine.
Every time I lose my voice, I swallow little glowing lights. My mother and son baked for me.
I think is a tremendous record. Tremendous track that, again, I probably would never, because her back catalogue is so daunting. It's so big. I would never have dug through it in that way. But listening to that album and Heirloom in particular really stayed with me.
No POS, no?
You know what? POS, the album is excellent. I can't say I listen to it often. I have probably listened to it a bunch. I'm going to give mention to a couple of your suggestions later on, so I don't want to play my hand too
Fair
soon.
enough.
All right, so I guess question 2 then, which question 2 is a little bit of my devising, because I've been kind of banging this drum for months. In the run up to Christmas, I really wanted us each to get a little Christmas present as a reward for, never missing a week. And so myself, Mark and David will all get to put one record that was denied entry into the canon. And it's a thorny issue because, it was denied. They were maybe denied on a good reason, but I will...
We're going against democracy here, guys. We're Brexiting.
Hey, this is the time for that.
This is the people's vote.
This is the era to go against them. I mean, David, if we dared put this to another public vote, that would be anti-democratic.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That seems to be the concept.
Just need to let the experts force it through.
The more people vote, the less democratic it is.
Yeah.
So
as we know,
we will take charge of that. And we will each put forward one of our recommendations that you guys, you idiots, rejected.
You idiots.
So, Mark, I'm going to nominate you first, man.
Really? I've had a long, hard think about this, right?
Yeah.
And it's been the longest, hardest thing that I've had of the entire 52 weeks.
Tell from
Yeah,
the lines in your face.
God, I'm getting old. And I think that if I'm going to have one record that's going to go in, I'm probably just going to go for Descendants.
I'm going to make jingle bell noises over that because that's your present.
Because I won't.
Because fart noises.
Because fart noises.
Treat the spider with a little respect. You take the heat, it's gonna bite back. Blast off that Cape Canaveral. Toilet seat is a launching pad. Blast off that Cape Canaveral. 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off.
Particularly because of the song Blast Off. But
Spicy Ring, yeah.
our bands, maybe with the exception of AFI, the other bands that didn't go in, I'm probably going to put another record forward at some point in the future, whether that's in the near future or the distant future, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Descendants, I like a lot of their records, but for me, that's still the one, and it's just got to be in there. I don't think I'll pick another one.
Okay,
That's cool.
that's pretty cool. You know, that's an album that I did go back to, and I really don't think it's a terrible album. I don't mean that
It's a good record.
in the way I rejected it. I think a bit like David was saying with Helmet last week, as I mentioned that episode, it's hard for me to unhear the shit that came after that album that drew upon it
Mhm.
in a negative way. And when I hear that album, I hear 2 decades of crap versions of that album, and it's really hard to unhear that.
Of that band, because I mean, it came out in
Of
the
that band.
2000s, but yeah.
Sorry, I beg your pardon, yeah. But it's really hard for me to unhear 2 decades of crap imitations of Descendants.
Mhm.
And I'm so turned off by those bands that
Yeah.
as much as I genuinely tried to give it a fair hearing, I'm not convinced that I totally did.
Mhm.
So I've like literally no reservations about that. I fully accept, based on the testimony as well of friends of mine that are big pop punk fans that are like, they are really good. I'm like, okay, I just really couldn't get in it.
I think
So
at
you
that
are just
stage-
shitting all over his Christmas present right now. You're deconstructing.
David, I'm Mr. Passive Aggressive.
What I would say is that
Can you not just be happy for the boy? Santa's coming. You've decided to tell him that Santa's a paedophile.
I think my addendum.
Santa's not a paedophile. He saw Santa kissing mommy.
Mommy.
Santa.
I know.
But it must be pretty cool to be you with your brothers at your back protecting you. Must be pretty cool to know you belong. Isolated my whole life, count scars in the land of the smiling knives. Yes,
Daddy. I think my addendum probably to the Descendants episode.
David, hang on. Do you
would
not
be-
think that Mark, if he grayed a little, could look a little bit like Santa
I
Claus?
definitely would be. That's what I'm
He's
going
wearing
for.
red as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Fucking hell.
But my addendum to that episode would be that it would have been really easy for Descendants to be a crap version of themselves, given how long it had been since their last record. And I
Yeah.
think it's really good for them to come out and do a record which is equally as good, in my opinion, as the stuff they've done in the past. So
Also, our shortest ever episode.
yeah,
Yeah,
It was a short
it's the
record.
band. Short.
Like a
Oh, but it's
third
a
of the
punk rock
length.
record.
A third
Punk
of the
rock.
length of the Godspeed You Black Emperor
It's
episode.
actually not. Actually,
makes
it's not as short as the Blonde Redhead episode, which
Really?
is the shortest episode. Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Well, that says a lot about my poor attempts to get that in.
Speaking of Christmas presents, Christopher,
My Christmas present. I was a little conflicted. I was happy that people listened to Animal Rights by Moby. I didn't.
I don't think they will.
Hey, be nice. 'Tis the season.
I wanna break you down and make you.
All right, I didn't really expect Moby to get in, right?
Yeah, we said that at the time.
But but genuinely, sometimes it's so easy to write somebody off without actually investing time in it. And sometimes a person doesn't deserve you to invest their time in it, right? Moby is a much more 3-dimensional personality and musician than people give him credit for. He's a very, very interesting guy.
I enjoyed that episode. I did not enjoy that record.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And he's a very interesting guy. He's a very, very likable guy. He is a really ambitious musician, and sometimes he's a fucking goofball. I totally get that. And some of his music is unlistenably fucking corny. I absolutely get that. I was just glad that it gave people an opportunity to appreciate that he was a person that came from a background not just of like Harlem and R&B and hip hop and stuff, but also of punk rock. He was a big punk rock fan, and he did something. He completely uttered this totally non-commercial album on the back of a career that at the time was looking like being a commercial success, and I respect that. It's stupid, but I love that about it. It showed
Punk as fuck.
it's punk as fuck, and it showed his genuine sincerity. He was not there just to make fucking loads of money. He was actually like, I love making music, and it coincided with loads of money, and it became lame. Whatever. Anyway, I'm glad people hopefully listen to that and appreciate Moby as a decent human being and an interesting guy, albeit, yeah, he's got a lot of shit music to his name. Blonde Redhead versus LaRue.
Please. Please choose
I'm
correctly.
surprised you didn't go with Juniors either, but
Tune Yards I couldn't really give a fuck about. Tune Yards I think is a really good album, but see, actually during the process of doing that episode, I became less and less sympathetic to it.
it was like me and AFI, to be honest. It was the same kind of thing. Different kind of vibe, but the same kind of feeling.
The more I listened to Tune Yards, the more I became aware of that.
Stealing a lot.
Yeah, the more it became the elephant in the room of the cultural appropriation aspect of it.
Cause danger is crawling out the wood. Bang, bang, boy, never move to my hood. Cause danger is crawling out the wood. Bang, bang, boy, never move to my hood. Cause danger is crawling out the wood. Bang, bang, boy, never move to my hood. Cause danger is
That episode was really an exercise in can I get past that? And after we'd really looked at it, I don't think I've listened to that album once since then.
Yeah.
Actually, I put one of the songs on my work playlist because I liked it that much.
I mean, I think it's a good album, but I don't think I can listen to it devoid of context, and I think that's really, really crucial. So no, Juniors wasn't in there. LaRue, I fucking love that album, and I love that album in the light of the Carly Rae Jepsen episode, because that episode, in fairness, a couple of the Carly Rae Jepsen tunes have slightly grown on me, but in context, there's 80 odd people involved in that process. And as I said in that episode, LaRue, that first album was literally a guy and a girl in a room making some fucking tunes. And they're not by any means the greatest fucking tunes ever written, but there are some absolute bangers. And not only the singles, but there's some great album tracks.
I'm going in for the kill. I'm doing it for a thrill. I'm hoping you'll understand. And I let go of my hand.
And I think the sheer accomplishment, the fact that they are even mentioned in the same breath as artists who had 80 odd fucking people and tens of millions spent on them, is astonishing. And I know Unsung is meant to be somewhat objective and not necessarily involved in context, and I accept that I got drawn too much into that during the Carly Rae Jepsen episode. I got too involved in the context and a little bit maybe hypocritical as regards just the objective quality of the music, but I can't shake the admiration I have for how amazing what LaRue achieved is, given that it was two people. I really think it's astonishing, and I think it will endure. I know Dave made a point about the Carly Rae Jepsen episode being like the album, being like an album that's looked back on fondly. I really do think that LaRue album will be an album that to some extent endures, and its origins will facilitate that rather than hinder it. But I'm not going to put that forward. Blonde Redhead, 23. I really was incredibly disappointed this didn't get in. I think it's a masterpiece. I think 23 is the greatest combination of pop sus meeting a band that came up the hard way through the art rock scene, through the alternative scene, playing tiny venues to nobody, and then blossomed into this brilliant, euphoric, produced but not overproduced amalgam of all these different influences. I really genuinely think 23 it's one of my top 10 albums of all time. And I was gutted that it didn't get in. So that is absolutely categorically my submission.
That's fair. I thought that was going to be the case as well, so cool.
David, you know?
Been tough. I worked out that it was a choice between Your Codename is Milo, Iron Maiden, Carly Rae Jepsen, Soundgarden, and Korn.
Just the 5.
And I
Just the 5 rejections.
and I truly just wish that was a bill on a festival. I would go and see that absolute
Daves.
fuck.
No,
Holy shit.
hang on. Can I illustrate that? Do you remember when Aphex Twin used the cameras to project his face onto the crowd?
It would just be me.
Can you imagine a festival of just Dave Weavers?
Yeah. So I'm going to discount Carly.
But I don't care. We won't get too sentimental, not tonight.
Why?
Do tell.
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go because I truly think that it is an excellent record.
Okay.
And I don't want to put in another record by this band.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Bad Motorfinger by Soundgarden.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
That's a beezer.
It's a really fucking great album.
I was expecting
And
Maiden. I was expecting Maiden.
I was a toss up between that and Maiden. I didn't go Korn because I might put Life is Peachy in at some point.
I was expecting Korn, but then we had the whole conversation about Life is Peachy, and that really, yeah.
And I do really like Issues. I'm not taking it back. I think it's a great record, but I think the first two records we could do, and we could probably do Life is Peachy. Bad Motorfinger, and in fact, it was listening to Helmet that made me go back to Soundgarden and appreciate it more, because I was just like, this is providing me with the melody that I want. It's providing me with the more interesting riffs. It's providing me with the progressiveness that I wasn't getting from the Helmet. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to put Bad Motorfinger in. And you can't, it's a great record. So
It's a
and it was,
really
and that was in a mixtape that was up against two other really good records.
Really
So,
good records. Yeah, I mean, it's like, did Hole win that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Superfuzz Big Muff, by any standards, should be in this. I mean, Superfuzz Big Muff as well is an amazing album. All three records picked were really good. You know that as regards Soundgarden, Bad Motorfinger, I'm okay with it. I don't think it's the best or even close, but I think all three of the records in that mixtape were really, really strong. So yeah, I no problems. Yeah,
Cool.
Show me the power, child. I'd like to say that I'm down on my knees today. Yeah, it gives me the butterflies, gives me away.
What was our next question then?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So the third question. No, I can't remember who submitted this, but it is what was the most interesting research or Wikipedia factoid discovered during the process of an episode? So who wants to go first?
You
Mr.
wanna go
David
first?
Weaver should go first.
Well, do you know what? I just loved the entire episode of Devin Townsend.
How good was that?
I thought the entire every
just
fact and research of that was great.
Listening to it was great as well. Strapping
Yeah.
the Lad was so much fun. I even said that. I was like, this is probably the most I've enjoyed an episode in a long time.
I think I'm going to have to agree with that, because it was only recently that I found there's a playlist that he's made on his Spotify, which is just the most fucking
So
weird
odd.
thing in the world.
He sent me
Yeah.
that. It's fucking insane. It looks like somebody was deranged.
Yeah, it's got himself on it, right? Which is weird as
You
fuck
put
anyway.
yourself on it, but then you put on like was it the Pussycat Dolls or
Yes,
something?
like it's just so bizarre, man.
So I felt that he was just an entire fucking rabbit hole to go down. We talked about like Zeltoid the Omniscient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sock puppet one. Yeah.
Yeah, I just overall, there are too many bits to pick, really. But
I know.
What was the factoid though? Is there anything in that in particular? that jumped
I don't know specifically. I think you just go back and listen and pick your own. I just love that all together.
For me, my favourite was on the Moby episode when I found out that Ash had made a slasher film on tour, and that Moby is in it, and so is fucking Dave Grohl.
yeah,
Is that
fucking
true?
hell.
That's
Yeah.
true, and it's still not been shown.
No way. What?
Yeah, So when they were doing a tour back in 2002, they brought a filmmaker called Jed Shepherd out with them. They decided to make a tour documentary, which is also a slasher film called Slashed. This is in this episode, right? And the main characters are FBI agent Sherbert Bones, played by Chris Martin. FBI agent.
Chris Martin?
Yep. FBI agent.
What
Wait a minute, guess better. The FBI agent Datsun Ford, played by Johnny Buckland, who's also in Coldplay. Dave Grohl as hysterical Dave Grohl. Moby as himself. Tim Wheeler as himself. The guys in Ash as himself. James Nesbitt as himself. Chris Cabara from
James Nesbitt?
He's fucking in it, yeah. It's just an utterly bizarre thing, man. It's also got members of the Hives and the Vines in it and all that.
You know what?
but
You know
it's
that thing where you've been like on the sesh and you have like a really weird dream and you wake up and you're like, my God. Like, how were you last night? I'm like, I'm all right, but I had this dream where like 2 members of Coldplay, Dave Grohl, James Nesbitt, Ash, were in like a slasher movie. It was like, my God, man, you need to stay off the Sambuca.
You need to stay off the fucking
But
cheese,
the
man.
thing is, like I said, like the film was never finished, and it's never been released. Some of it's been released online, but it's
Could
incomplete.
the Unsung podcast start a petition to get them to release that?
Oh no, because it's not finished. So
No, but
the first part's on YouTube. The second part is apparently fucking nowhere to be seen. So
James Nesbitt from Lucky Man.
yeah, that James Nesbitt, the Northern Irish actor.
Are we really like?
He's not Northern Irish. He's Republic of Ireland, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure he's Northern Irish.
Oh no, I think he's like a Dubliner.
The same thing, mate. What's the difference? What's the difference?
Oh, is he is from
God,
Northern
Ballymena,
Ireland.
yeah.
Holy
God,
shit!
God save the Queen.
I always thought he's from Republic of
Why
Ireland.
don't we?
It's also got Matt Sharp in it as God.
Matt Sharp,
Matt Sharp.
not Pat Sharp.
Matt Sharp.
Who's
from,
Matt Sharp?
From Weezer. The
Weezer.
original Weezer bassist.
Fuck
Matt Sharp.
off.
He's God.
You've been taking mushies.
That's actually
Like
true.
seriously, like, can we not start a petition to
to
actually
see this film?
to see this film?
Yeah,
Could we do that?
yeah, probably. Let's do it.
Can we do it?
We should do
That
that.
is ridiculous.
Okay.
Nobody knows about
That's
this.
2019's
Also,
project.
a kind of side fact which I found out in the Helmet episode is Betty was recorded at Power Station Studios in Hell's Kitchen in New York.
Betty by Helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is owned by Tony Bongiovanni, who is a cousin of John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi.
Really, that's interesting.
That's not nearly as good as that film that
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
not as
about.
good as
That
Slash.
film is crazy, man. We need to do a petition. That would be brilliant. I really want to see that.
So, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But it was never finished, so who knows what it's like.
Chris,
You know,
what's
there's-
your fact?
Does Rick McMurray from Ash not live in Edinburgh?
Yeah, I think he does.
I think he does. I think
Should
we
just petition his house.
yeah.
You just go knock on his door.
petition his face.
Christoph, what's your fact? Do you know what? I actually did have a specific fact that I forgot about. Can I just rewind? In my research, and we didn't talk about it, but Devin Townsend actually told in an interview, said what he earned a year, and Metal Sucks, I think it was, or Metal Injection talked about it, and he said that he made about $5,000 a month before taxes.
Fuck
So
me.
he, at this point, and like there was a whole article about how you would think he's a successful musician who has made it. You know, he's headlines metal festivals and stuff like that. But he's earning $60,000 a year before taxes, and 25 years into his career. So
It's
what he
kinda
gets.
like-
That's a full-time wage. I would not give a fuck. Like,
That's sort of the wage of like a
that's middle management wage.
like
yeah. In
No, it's not
America,
middle.
I think in America that's pretty much the median wage.
no
the United States.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, the median wage over here is like 24 and a half.
Yeah,
I think it's like 30 grand in America.
So you're talking 30. Yeah, you're talking 30.
the US.
So that's like
whoa, Chris Cusack. The US Census Bureau reported in September 2017 that real median household income was 59,000.
Household.
But household is different because it's pretty much two.
multiple. Yeah. So you're talking about 30 grand, I think, like in an American wage per person per adult.
Yeah, so he's getting twice your average wage. Really.
I mean, but that's not ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were a low level
I think-
surgeon, you'd be getting that.
I think the question is though, is like Metal Sucks are saying that he's not successful because he's only earning 60 grand a year. Like,
I don't think they're saying
that's-
that.
No,
I know
that's exactly what they
that
said.
when in the article they're like, hey, can you imagine working for 20 years in the same job and only getting that?
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
So,
if my
I was
job
like,
was playing music
all
for
right.
20 years, I think I'd be
Yeah.
okay with that too.
Man, I feel really bad right now. 'cause
all right, person that writes for a fucking blog.
much
Are
you
you on
earn a year?
150 grand a year, right? So anyway,
Okay, I have two facts. The lesser of those facts was that, I mean, there was any number of cool facts coming out of the Butthole Surfers episode. I mean, the Butthole Surfers were, oh my God, what a
Fact
fucking
machine.
crazy. The gig that they did in Trenton, New Jersey with the ceiling going on fire.
yeah,
And the
him,
bouncer.
him threatening to set everybody on
the
fire.
bouncer on fire.
Yep.
And the riot after the show. And the show they did as well at Danceteria in New York City, where Gibby ended up accidentally having sex with their dancer. We found himself between her legs with an accidental erection.
Just fell
and
into
the
it,
two of them
honestly.
just started getting off each other. That stuff was great. I mean, the Butthole Surfers episode was so much fun because they're a rock and roll band in the most cliched sense of that. The fact I think was the most startling or the one that took me aback the most was the story during the Bjork episode about Ricardo Lopez, who sent her a letter bomb
Oh yeah.
disguised as a
Yeah.
book. And I mean, Bjork ended up moving to Spain. She was so traumatized. Like, she moved to this area of Spain, kind of off the grid, because she was so traumatized by this episode. Lopez had sent her a bomb disguised in a book that was disguised as a script for a film. The bomb didn't detonate. It was tracked down after he had committed really grisly suicide on video, which you can see on the internet. Oh, well, you can't see it on the surface web, but you can definitely see it in the deep web. And also, I didn't realise at the time that we did the episode that apparently part of his reason for that reaction was because she had started dating Goldie, and Goldie was black. And that was a motivating, or allegedly that was a motivating element. That part of that episode really shocked me, I think. It really stayed with me.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Which brings us to question 4 and the first part of this Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, I'm sorry, I can't remember who
was
submitted this. Kat,
Mm-hmm.
what was the most oversung album of your year?
Of the year, for me, it was. It's probably
No. So does this mean that we talked about, or does this
No.
mean this means
Generally, like
album of the year most oversung?
like just
That
vent.
has come out.
That's
just-
what I'm going to go with anyway.
Yeah,
So
okay, that's fine.
this probably says more about my friends than anything else. But a lot of the people that I know really like the Vane record, Error Zone.
Who?
Vane.
Can you
And
spell it?
Vein. Vane.
Really? I don't know.
I've
what
never
at
heard
all.
that in my life.
No, me neither.
And it's a lot of the punk and hardcore press have been given a lot of props. Let me get there. It's what Corn would sound like if they listened to hardcore and not hip hop.
All right. Okay.
Dave, are you in?
That's intriguing. I kind of want to listen now.
Don't get me wrong, it's got a lot of elements in it which is like proper fucking like grindy hardcore, but there's a lot of new metal in it as well, which is just not for me.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a dream!
And it's been
has
quite,
it been well
it's
received?
been very well received in the punk and hardcore press this
Is
year.
this like when that fucking band Code Orange became really big?
See, Code Orange are interesting. That would have been if we did this last year. That would have been my record as well. Forever is a record which has a lot of really good ideas in it,
But
but
it also just sounds like new metal slam.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally,
they ended up playing it in WWE.
yeah, they played Alistair Black's theme tune at NXT TakeOver. There's a few good songs on it, but there's also songs on it which are basically grunge songs, and it's just a total fucking weird record. Like, I don't understand it at all. And
I
people
remember
they're on Roadrunner. People fucking love it as well. I don't get.
I literally remember recently Code Orange playing the 13th Note in Glasgow, which is like a basement DIY punk crust venue, and Code Orange playing that, and then next thing you're watching them on WWE.com.
Yeah,
It's
they're on Roadrunner. Support quite big bands now.
really odd.
They released an EP/single this year, and the lead single on it's got Corey Taylor in it. So it kind of tells you everything you need to know.
Corey Taylor.
Yeah. So that's probably for like in the terms of the music that I listen to, that's probably my most oversung record of the year. Even though I appreciate not a lot of people have heard it, it's probably quite unsung in that sense.
No, that's interesting. That's a good one.
I've never heard of Vane, but yeah, there you go.
Thank you. What about yours, Christopher?
David, this will be hard to believe, but I have a few records that I think are oversung.
Oh, really? No way.
Wait, is one of them Idols?
No, but I didn't think of them.
That was one of the ones that I was also going to put in.
No,
but I did
like
not.
okay, so Idols are a band that caused a little bit of a strop on my Facebook during a couple of
It's
comments.
because they're basically Gallows but newer.
So Idols are a band from Bristol, but the thing about Idols is that I think Idols musically are very overrated, but at the same time, Idols in terms of their approach are commendable. Idols spent a fair time in Bristol and the surrounding area building up a real reputation. They did it the hard way. I don't think musically they're anything. They're the second coming, but I do think and respect their approach to it. And it's sort of, it's weird. I can't quite make up my mind about it because I have friends on both sides of this equation. I respect
And I'm happy that a band that worked hard and did things the right way, inverted commas, have done well. But I'm not in any way overwhelmed by their music, so I think it's extremely derivative. And it relies, as do many bands now, in this second wave of like slacker rock, noise rock. It relies on the ignorance and naivety of a generation of people that think this is the first time this has been done and haven't taken the time to research the bands that these bands often quite blatantly plagiarize. Yeah, that's the privilege of being a little bit older. I remember Cherubs. I remember all these like obscure noise rock bands like Shorty and all these bands. And so this all seems like old hat to me. But I don't know, I can't quite make up my mind about that. Idols are not on that list. Bands that I do think are grossly overrated, especially on recent output, The National.
But I'm graceless. Don't have the sunny side to face this. I am invisible that way.
I think The National are a fucking dirge.
Not a fan either.
I always thought the National were very dull. Then at one point, they clicked with me. There was, I can't remember. One of the records clicked with me about a year ago.
They had
and I was
one.
like,
They had one
oh,
record.
that's actually pretty good. And then I gave this new album a go, and I liked it at first, and then I thought it was dull again. So yeah, had a small flirtation with the National, and it's gone again. So don't worry.
I'm exactly the same, man. I thought like there was like stuff like Alligator that I thought was it's alright, and there were a couple of singles that came out. I was like, it's okay, and then is it Boxer or something like that? Anyway, they're a weird band. It's weird that another band that are on this list for me, Bon Iver, The National, I very much class with them in the sense that they could only exist in an era where indie rock was so banal that you actually found that sort of music inspiring. Like, I think they are incredibly pedestrian, really morose and kind of white guy, introverted. It just there's nothing happening there.
I do believe though that it came out last year, so
yeah, it did. I mean, no. But hang on. Most overrated albums was not by any means narrowed down to this year. It's just
I thought we were talking about this year. That's what I thought we talked.
Yeah.
Just recent memory.
No, but I thought we confirmed this before we started the question.
Yeah.
There. I said, was it to do with? Oh well, I mean, obviously I've got a million others, but I like the idea of it being of this year.
2 points here. First of all, I edit the episode, so if I'm wrong, I'll cut out the bit that proves I'm wrong. And secondly, no. But no, just in really recent memory, stuff that we've not had a chance to address. Bon Iver, The National, I just think are two examples of this really mediocre alternative.
I disagree with you on Bon Iver. I think the second record is fucking fantastic.
For Emma?
No, Bon Iver.
Oh, okay.
For Emma's first record.
Okay, I think
Forever Ago. Yeah,
Forever Ago. I think For Emma's a decent record.
That's a really lovely record. It's got some beautiful moments to it. I don't think it's a
Sparks
perfect
as good as
album,
they've done, man.
But I think Bon Iver, the second album, is really, really good when he was like fucking about with some 80s synths.
Wait, he sounds like Phil Collins.
No, it's really good. But I do have to say the third record, it's got some nice moments on it, but some really shite stuff.
Well, that's the one I'm talking about,
yeah.
And I think that's gash. Two other albums that I think are like grossly overstated are One of Trix Point Never's most recent album. Which is obscenely style over content. Like,
no, there's some incredible moments in that. There's bits in that that are so good. Just noises that you're like, where the fuck does that come from?
Cool noises.
Do you like One of Trix Point Never? Do you like his previous stuff?
To some extent, yeah. I was really intrigued by the potential for One of Trix Point Never, but I think a bit like Hacks and Cloak, it's something that's grossly underachieved. Given
I like Hacks and Cloak.
It's fine.
It's hype. It's electro hype. It's not. See, my problem with those bands is they're very cerebral, and there is nothing about them that appeals on any other physical level. Like they are purely a cerebral process of like, oh, this is clever.
No. I think they are a musically, aesthetically wonderful act. He makes noises that are really fucking interesting to hear. He's not making songs. It's
not a sound effects album, man. It's an album.
Yeah, but it's an ambient experimental thing. It's not. You're not going in there looking for a hit single. You're going in there. You don't listen to Brian Eno going, "Oh, where's the hook?"
No, but that's
you are listening to sounds. And what I think that album has some fucking incredible sounds.
I think Wonder Tricks is a masterstroke in marketing from that kind of esoteric world of electronic music where it basically just implies that it's above your level of understanding, and therefore it markets itself on the basis of, hey, we are amazing and cutting edge and you just don't get it. And there's nothing about Wonder Tricks' records that in any way has any longevity in terms of like recreational listening.
I think you're wrong. I think you just don't like it.
I'm just putting that out there. Another one that falls into that category, Thundercat.
It must have felt when I lost my mind. Deep in the cup, drowning in pain.
I haven't heard Thundercat yet.
What the fuck is
Thundercat
that?
has some amazing
What
stuff.
is that?
I mean, you don't like jazz or funk or black music. So
First of all, we established that Mark is the only one that doesn't like black people. Okay.
Look,
How many black records have you got to take phone?
I have Thundercat. I really like Thundercat, and I love the stuff that whole scene with Flying Lotus, with Kendrick Lamar, and everything around that, because there's just some incredibly interesting things coming out there if you are a jazz head or an R&B head that you can just fucking geek out on.
Head.
I will also admit that there is some unbelievably extreme noodling with Thundercat.
It's
when he
so
writes
beige.
No, when he writes songs, they're fucking great. When he goes off on a big jazz wank, it's very impressive, but it gets very tedious.
Thundercat is that kind of retrospective attempt to appreciate the legacy of Stevie Wonder via a medium that's contemporary, elements of electronica and whatever.
You're going to fucking love Black Messiah by D'Angelo.
It is so fucking gaunt in terms of good songs. Like
that's not true. I mean, maybe if you're thinking about when Thundercat does his, much more mainstream poppy stuff, there are artists out there that are doing the Stevie Wonder stuff and mainstream pop stuff very well. Thundercat, when he does that, he does that. But when you listen to his record or you go and see him live, he's a progressive jazz fusion artist. He's not trying to be Stevie Wonder. He is building on 30, 40, 50 years of West Coast jazz, and he comes from an incredibly talented pool of musicians there, and they're doing absolutely fucking mental things within jazz. You're looking at him and hearing his pop stuff. For me, he adds really nice hooks into this mad fucking jazz.
Okay.
He's not a pop artist at all.
Okay, I will concede. The problem with Thundercat is that I'm really alienated by the stuff from that record that gets the constant...
It gets the play, yeah.
The play, and I find it really...
If you listen to the record as a whole, those pieces of music are oasis of calm amongst these fucking mad jazz fusion prog outs, and you've got like a 75-minute record, or you've got a double album that you're just like, holy fuck, I don't know what's going on. This is some of the most ridiculously incredible musicianship happening in the world right now. And then he comes in and he puts in this 4-minute single, and as part of his overall work, it works perfectly. I can see how you could see, only hearing that, you think, oh, that's a bit beige, but he's using that as a touch point throughout everything else that he does.
You know what, that's really interesting, right? Because I will revisit it purely in the strength of that rebuttal. I think it's just interesting, though, perhaps that the marketing then of that album has resided so much on these very sparse moments.
Yeah, I think what's happened
because
is...
I have not
seen that album in the light that you've represented, which, by the way, is a light that I would be much, much more inclined to appreciate. What I have received from that album is like a series of really mild and unremarkable.
Well, I think what you've got is a record label there that are seeing the success of Kendrick Lamar and to a lesser degree the success of Flying Lotus, and they've gone, right, Thundercat is part of that. He's got some hooks in there. Let's take that and sell that to the Pitchfork audience. But what you've also got is he's been, you know, an incredible jazz musician to like chin-strokey jazz people for like 10, 15 years.
I didn't know that at all.
And I totally understand, because I went to see Thundercat in the ABC before it burned down, sold out gig. And the problem for me was like some of it was unbelievably noodly, so far out. Yeah. But what I fucking loved was that there were 1,400 people in there watching progressive jazz fusion. And they were all drawn in there by these like pop songs. And I would say 800 of the folk in there were like, what the actual fuck is this?
So, you know what? In a weird way, that's a really nice facet of this podcast, because hopefully people that are on the same page as me, much like me, will now be inspired to go and like,
I can send you a couple of really interesting
I'll literally just listen to the full thing, because all I've done is dip in and out of that and been really unimpressed. But I've been dipping in and out at the reference points, and the reference points have really underwhelmed me. So really maybe it's a case of I have been misguided, maybe based on the marketing. Anyway,
it could be.
Sorry, allow me to just cut to the chase here. None of those fuckers were my overrated artist. My overrated artist is way more contentious. Slayford Mods.
The smell of piss is so strong it smells like decent bacon. Kevin's getting footloose on the overspill under the piss station. 2 pints, destroyer on the cobbled floors. No amount of whatever is gonna chirp the chip.
I've never heard them.
Cannot fucking stand this band. Slayford Mods.
This entire podcast has been an excuse for you to get to this moment.
52 weeks of fucking tension, waiting for the chance to vent on the absolute banality of this band. This 2-piece band where one member is like this pseudo contemporary working class poet, and this other guy is hitting the spacebar on a fucking Apple Mac whilst drinking a can of Skol. I cannot fucking get how this band had any more than one album's longevity. I get the novelty value of the fact that they're doing some kind of like working class fucking commentary, mate. Fucking Jeremy Corbyn, fucking fuck the Tories, oh fucking welfare state. I get all that shit, but this band are beyond a joke. And the problem is they're affiliated with Invada, which is Beak, which is like Jeff Barrow, Portishead, the Drive soundtrack, so many other things that I love. That gives them a level of credibility as well. I do not get the musical appeal of this fucking Emperor's New Clothes bullshit. I mean, when you read the rhetoric around Slayford Mods, the NME hyperbole about how they're the most punk band, The Guardian, The Independent, The Observer titillated at the fact that there's a band talking about Jeremy Corbyn and left-wing politics. When you get into the position where you're excited about the fact that there's a band ranting about the state of the NHS, you forget that they are a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of bands like Nitzareb from like the 80s. Proper electro alternative combination cross-pollination bands doing this post-punk, almost like musical poetry meets industrial thing. I mean, there is no edge whatsoever to Slayford Mods. They are so banal, and it is a contemporary consensus of people that buoys their career. This notion that somehow a band exists that is doing anything edgy. They are absolutely not. Trite sound bites, vaguely leftist politics, and they have a guy who his ironic sense of performance is to hit spacebar and start a track and then drink a working class lager in the background, and his name is like Andrew Fern Whitley Guffington. Oh my god, it's an absolute testament to how badly the notion of punk rock has deteriorated, that this band is in any way seen as cutting edge. I cannot understand it. They should have lasted for one album, and they should have been cool for one album. It makes sense. But for any more than one album, it's a symptom of a scene that is devoid of any real rebellion. It is completely anemic. Slayford Mods could only exist in an entirely anemic punk rock scene, and they cater to an audience that is so easily satisfied. It fucking kills me. It really does.
You okay? Does that feel better?
No.
Is that like the weird euphoria after a big vomit?
Stop quoting Chris Morris.
You needed to get that out.
Well, that's the thing. Chris Morris is the fucking example of when anti-establishment politics and satire was relevant, and Slayford Mods underline how far we've fallen.
They had a good song. I liked a song called You're Brave. It had a little sample of a machine gun in it, and it goes, "You're brave."
Good for them.
My favourite line in that was, "Chuwamba Wamba weren't political, they were just crap," which is weirdly
Ooh, well done.
prescient about themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That is the thing. Like, when you look through the history of left-wing politics in music, Slayford Mods are the most uninspiring example. Like, even fucking Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is like a trite establishment example of music now. If somebody says to you, what kind of music do you like? Bob Dylan, left swipe. You know what I mean? It is that kind of patter. But Bob Dylan was edgy compared to Slayford Mods. And Slayford Mods are out there catering to an audience that's already established, saying things that are safe. Who the fuck cares about this band? There is nothing edgy. Go on YouTube, type in Neitzer Ebb, watch Neitzer Ebb play, and see any number of performances that eclipse this entire band's career. Corbynism in itself is a lame parody of left-wing politics. It's a toothless, sort of resigned stance, and Slayford Mods just sum that up for me. They were so totally relevant to now. If anything, represents the massive overhaul of thinking in the left wing. It's this shitty...
I love it when Chris gets angry.
Oh my god. I'm so glad we've not done it. And you know, loads
We're going to
of
have to split this into about 5 episodes now.
a number of my friends who I love to bits love this band. I love these guys. People like
You love them.
Margaret Thatcher.
Fair enough.
People like Kapil Sishasai, right? Kapil is doing one of the most interesting projects in Glasgow right now, okay? But Kapil loves this
He
fucking
fucking
band.
does, it's true.
He loves this band, and as much as I love Kapil and everything he's doing is interesting, this band are the antithesis of what he's doing. And bless the guy, because he's awesome, but this band are shit and they need to fuck off.
Okay, done.
Promar too.
Okay. Well, my most overrated
Okay, David.
Was that all me?
Yeah, it was all you.
last year or two, I'm going to say the 1975.
Yeah.
David, is that just the band that everybody's been tweeting us about for about 4 weeks?
Well, that's the album of this year that I just don't fucking get, because it's like I even made a meme about it.
Yeah.
Did you see it, guys?
Yeah.
Your meme went viral.
I know, I was pretty chuffed with it.
They are fucking hot garbage.
you
They've
go
always
through-
been hot garbage.
You go
They'll
through
continue
different
to be hot
levels, and
garbage.
it's like, oh, you don't like the 1975. Are you just trying to be cool? Because in actual fact, they are actually very good. It's like, no, I don't like the 1975 because I have ears.
You know what? The 1975 are what's happening when people look back at NXS and are like, can we do NXS without
Yeah.
any tunes?
My best friend,
That's how I
Ali
think EFI sound now.
my best friend, and he's the man that has my name tattooed on his arm.
Is
And
it me?
We started a musical podcast.
hang on. Hang on. I want to check my arm.
No, it's I'm
It's not
afraid
me.
to-
It's Ali McRae.
Ali McRae, he fucking loves the new 1975 album.
He's an idiot.
Yeah,
But
I-
I'm afraid this is a
By the way,
bad album.
I really like Ali. He's a top
He's
guy,
a top guy.
but he's an idiot.
Sorry, Ali.
So I'm going to put that forward. I mean, I've got lots of others. I fucking hate LCD Soundsystem. I think they're boring as
Fucking,
fuck.
yeah, man. Fucking, I
They
really
are
hate
so
that band too, man.
dull.
Oh my god.
Every time I hear like a song, I go,
Why?
"Oh, what's
Yeah.
this beige 90s 80s dance that sounds like a German fart?"
Just 'cause I'm shallow doesn't mean that I'm heartless. Just 'cause I'm heartless doesn't mean that I'm mean. But sometimes life gives us too many options. Just 'cause you're hungry doesn't mean that you're lean.
And then I go, "Oh, who is that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's LCD Soundsystem." I'm
David,
like, "Oh, fuck
David,
off."
It's basically your dad making electro music.
Yeah, it
Like-
fucking is. It's fucking.
Hang on, guys. This is a beautiful moment because all three of us feel the same.
Yes, fusion, Captain Planet.
He's so fucking old now as well. Like, it's
Here's
like,
the thing,
oh.
right? Like 1975. Fucking hell.
The same band,
So,
right?
yeah. LCD Soundsystem have a tremendous song called "Dance Yourself Clean," and it's the
I'm not gonna lie, they've got like 2 or 3 like great
Right.
songs, and
they have a couple of great tunes, but the euphoria and fucking headlining fucking Primavera, all this bullshit. It is absolutely ridiculous that a band that plays that fucking dad electro
It's
bullshit
totally dad electro.
it's, yeah.
that level of prominence.
It's like somebody's taken the edge off Hot Chip. Oh, you can just fuck off.
And I knew a boy from Eton. Yeah, I mean,
Anyway, I think that should be the end of this episode.
That's brilliant.
We've nailed that.
I'd just like to say that it's been really good to have everybody listen to this episode. I know that after the bands you've just spoken about, you're probably not going to listen ever again. Them's the breaks, kids.
when the booze kicks in, it all gets loose. Yeah, we're going
Dave's
to.
still sober.
That's where he wants to go. That's why you and me are happy to keep going. Like, David may drop out for part 2, but
I'll just send you my notes.
we'll do impressions, Jamaican impressions of Dave.
But yeah, thanks. See you guys next week for some more hilarity.
Part 2
Alright,
of the
but we're
Christmas
just going to
special.
start straight away, so off and on again. Although you probably need to piss again, don't you, Chris?
Yes.